Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are joining us from. Thank you for joining us today. Welcome to the new episode of Designing Whiteboard. Um, as you all know, today I'm co-host as well as Taji. Um, Nice to be here, guys. So today we're going to be doing like a brief overview of what you guys are going to expect. I'm moving to the next stage of the the project we speak of, which is Shop Tackle, right? So we're gonna give like a brief overview of what has been done so far and what we're going to be doing, so a couple of things we're going to be looking for in the client group for the. So yeah, so I'm just going to give like a brief overview of what has been done, starting with what we did last week, 2 weeks, is it last week or last 2 weeks now, right? So we're opportunity to have to host a season brand designer come in and basically explore choices, creative processing, solving for the client shop that whole. So, and this was the brief he worked with, right? I'm just going to give you a brief overview. If you want to see the full episode of what he did, how he worked, how he solved, how he created the brand for Shop Taco, you can check the previous episode. You'll see everything. He did amazing work. But for now, I'm just going to show you what he was solving for. So basically, the client is Shop Taco, right? A fashion forward retail brand with multiple locations across the UK, right? So it's known for its curated selection of designer clothing, shoes, and the rest, right? And as they grow, they are trying to take their in-store experience online by launching ShopTaco's first ever digital platform, right? Um, so basically, the ask is the client wants to design a brand experience that reflects who they are, and touch at every touch point, refined, intuitive, and customer first. So the brand values are luxury, premium experience in feel, design, and tone, efficiency, clean, functional, and easy to navigate, honesty, transparent, human, and built on trust. The task, right, for the brand identity was to a visual identity for ShopTaco that reflects what it should look, feel, and communicate like in digital space. Defining the visual identity, the logo color translates core values, creating a look and feel that aligns with the premium fashion but remains distinct and unique. Um, Laying the foundation for unified customer experience both online and offline. All this has been done, right? And it was amazing work by Ayo. You can go, like I said, you can go to our previous episodes to check it out. See the entire creative process. It's really interesting, really insightful. I'm even glad I got the opportunity to watch it and to be there live to witness how he solved for Shotako. So yes, please do make sure that if you want to like see that entire process, just go and check our previous episode on YouTube. And now I'm going to be handing over to Utaje, working on we're going to move into the next steps, working on the digital um the the digital store for ShopTaco, right? Yeah, so Kutaji.
All right. Thank you, Raphael. Thank you so much. Okay, guys. Yeah. So glad to have you yet again today for the Designery live stream. So yeah, like Raphael said, we had somebody last week who not last week, I didn't know, last time out, actually 2-3 weeks ago now, who did the brand identity design for the client called Shop Taco. So Shop Taco is an imaginary brand, right, that we came up with because we needed a brief to work with in this live design session. But of course, as we continue, at some point we are going to be doing some form of pro bono work where we'll get reclined brief and basically work with clients live so designers can learn, not just us, but of course we'll be bringing in other designers to come design live so you are able to learn from how they make design decisions and what their process is like. So I'm going to share my screen to give you a breakdown of what you should expect from us today, then also show you things we're going to be doing afterwards. So give me a few seconds to pull up my slides. So let me know when you can see my screen. I think my screen should be up now.
You can see your screen now.
All right. So yeah, So this is the yeah, so like so far so good. We have this is the second stage of the live design session for the first project we've taken on here at the designery, of course, the designery whiteboard. All right, so the first stage is the identity design. Right, so it's the same client, but the first stage for the client was to give them an identity, which I or DG did. And also you can find that video on YouTube. There's a breakdown on it on Twitter. For today, which is the second stage now, we're going to kickstart the UI UX design. But of course, we're starting with UX because we need to, first of all, understand, break down the problem, and also move. How do we move forward? Then how we move forward from there. So next, so we're looking at the UI UX design, and the agenda for today's live stream is fourfold basically. The first one is the request breakdown. So we're going to look at the original brief from the client, and we're going to break it down. Then also we're going to do problem space exploration. What that means is that we're going to look at the problem that we highlight from the request, and we're going to break it down to explore it from the business perspective and also from the user perspective. So basically, we're not thinking of solution yet. We just want to understand the problem deeply and also the impact it's having on the business and potential impact it could be having on the target customers. Okay. The next, we're going to use a framework from the Nestle Normal group, NN group. Right, so they have a very interesting framework I personally use if I want to define my problem, like basically problem definition. So I'm going to show you guys that there's an article for it. So I'm going to show you guys the article, and together we're going to use it to define the problem. Right. So then afterwards we'll discuss the next step. So now that we know the clients, we've explored the problem, we have a defined problem. Right. How do we move forward? We're going to let you know on the call what the next steps will be. That basically means what you would expect in the next stream. Okay. So now let's go into the first item here, request breakdown. So this is the client request. So follow me as we read this together. So Shop Tackle, remember I said, so if you Google Shop Tackle today, you will not find the brand. You may not. I don't think you should. Well, you may. We didn't really do that. But if you Google Shop Tackle today and you're expecting to find a brand in UK called Shop Tackle, you may not find them. Like I said, it's a fake client brief, right? But it's just meant to guide you through the process and how we're going to design a web product for this guy. So now the client request is that we are Shop Tackle, a large clothing store with several stores all over the country, in this case the UK, right? We are in desperate need of a UX designer since we are planning on turning our brand into an online web shop, right? We have a large selection of designer clothing, designer shoes, and accessories. And some of the items sell out in one store, whilst there's still a surplus in the other store. So that's the problem they are having, right? So they currently have just a physical store. They have like physical stores distributed in the UK, in the country, but we're using the UK for this instance. But they don't have a digital presence or a digital platform where people can go to buy stuff, right? So when they sell out their accessories, their items on what from in a particular location, they may still have it, or they most likely still have it in other locations, but the customers who want it at one location cannot access it at the other location, right? That's the problem they have. So they want a web shop, right, so that they can maximize their offer and also regulate customer needs better. So they stand for luxury, efficiency, honesty. They want something that would represent them both physically and online. Okay, so that their customers will have. So they want a shopping experience for every one of their customers. It's simplified shopping experience for every one of the customers. All right. So they're asking, the request now is to that we should design a way to easily and effectively search through clothes, shoes, accessories, and place an order on a new web shop. So they're asking us to design a web shop for them, basically an e-commerce platform, right, at its foundation, right, where people can buy stuff. And also they want the experience to be smooth, efficient as possible for our customers, and also to shop without flaws. So yeah, that's basically what the brief is about. I know they say here that the time is quite time sensitive, but we are not going to stress so much about the time sensitivity of this. The goal is for us to show you how we're going to approach this. And of course, we know that if you give different designers the same brief, you would have different approaches, or probably you definitely will come up with different, they will come up with different results to the same client's problem, right? So What that means is, if you have a different approach to this, or if you have takes or suggestions as to what you could have done differently, do let us know in the comments, or leave it as a feedback anywhere you on Twitter, on LinkedIn, or even on YouTube. Okay. So now next, let's break down this request. So one thing that stood out to me, right, was the fact that they made it clear what the problem is, right, or what the overarching problem is, which is that their items can be sold out in one location, but of course, not of course, basically, but they can have it in surplus in other locations, right? Now, what this means is that customers at a particular at a particular location may not be able to buy a product, but that doesn't mean that that product is not available for them to purchase in a different location. So this is the problem from a business perspective. But so this problem, there are more problems that are connected to this. So this is just like this, but you can imagine this impacting revenue. You can imagine this impacting customer experience, right? So we are going to explore this problem. That's the second item we're going to do. So we're broken down the brief now, which is the client request. Next, we're going to explore this problem to see how it's impacting the business and other related problems to this, and also see how it's potentially will or is currently impacting their customers who buy from their working stores, right? But then also the opportunity or the request here is that they want a web shop, right? Basically an e-commerce platform, like I said. And beyond that, they want it to operate just like the way their physical stores operate. So what this means is that instead of us to just slapping or just plaster a typical e-commerce flow or experience on the design, they want to be able to translate their in-store experience onto their digital platform. But right now, we do not really know what that in-store experience is, because, like I said, it's not a real client. But we're going to imagine what a typical in-store ideal or a good experience for somebody who works in store to buy an item is. They will see how we can translate that into their into their digital space. So this is the client request breakdown. Now we're going to move on. So I'm going to go back to the slides now. So the second item on the slide is the problem space exploration, right? So this is what we're going to do. We're going to move over to FigJam. We're going to put stickies together, and we're going to use that to fire on. Okay, so myself and Raphael, we're going to do brainstorming for the next 10 minutes, maybe less, right? And we're going to use stickies on FigJam. So Raphael, I'm not sure I gave you access to this.
Just send me the link.
Okay, so I'm going to send you the link. Sorry, I somehow forgot. I'm going to name this it's a shop tackle. So let me just quickly share this to you. So copy link. So when you see just request access, how do I give you this now? Okay, I'm sharing a separate screen, so I think I can. Let me just go to my WhatsApp. So I'll send it to you now. Okay, so Rafa, I've sent you the link. So just request to access it on. Just request to gain access. Then let's do this session. So we're going to set 10 minutes. But while Rafa is joining, I'm going to just put together a sticky. So I could go to the community and pull. But what basically going to do is what we call mind mapping. Not necessarily mind mapping in wave. The idea is, okay, Rafa, you forgot the access, so access granted. The idea here is this, right? So I'm going to go back to the brief, and I'm going to pick that problem. So let me go to the brief now. So I know we said this is a live design session, but of course, you know that before you get to design, you actually need to understand the problem you're designing for. So I will explain the reason why we're doing this, right? Let me just get the problem. Let me see, so in what line we have. Okay, this is it here. So I'm going to get this. Yeah. So I'm going to copy this. Okay, you can edit. Okay. Yeah, I'm giving you edit access. So this is the client problem. Okay. So this is the client problem. Okay, so this is the client problem. So I'm going to set a timer. So what we're going to do is this. We're going to do this in two ways, right? So let me just quickly draw a shape. After I do that, I will set a timer so that I don't limit us. So let me draw a shape quickly. So we're going to call this, or why even trying to draw a shape? You know what? I'm not drawing any shape. Let me just maximize time. I'm going to type business. Right, so I save us time. So this is the business side. So timer has not started yet because we started brainstorming. So when we start, we'll do that. So this is business. That is, let me not use let me not use user. I'm going to use customer, right? Because we're looking at people who are going to actually spend and buy stuff. So this is the now what we're going to do is this. Let me move customer this way. So we're going to spend like let's say okay, let's say 10 minutes. 10 minutes for the business, 10 minutes for the customer. Now from the business perspective, Raphael is what we're going to do. So this is your sticky. Just let me give you a sticky there. Is mine. Okay, I think you should create one because yours has mine. So yours get a sticky now. So I'm gonna give you a sticky different color. Maybe yellow. I forget a sticky or get a sticky. Go and get a sticky. Don't follow me. Okay. All right. So I'm going to set the timer. Yeah. So get a sticky. So this is what we're doing. So now let me explain why we're doing this first. So the reason why we're doing this is that when we're designing this product, we are not just going to be designing. When the customer lands on the page, the goal is not just to show them the catalog of things that the shop has for sale. We also want to be able to, typically when you walk into a store, right, not a mall, when you walk into, let's say, a boutique and you want to buy clothes or shoes, there's a salesperson who sits there and tries to understand your needs, welcomes you into the shop and wants to sell to you, right? So because we are looking to match the web experience with the in-store experience, we need to know what will resonate with the user or the customer. Okay. So that is the reason why we're doing this first. We want to know what could be the potential problems that we can use such that we can use those points and make it resonate with the customer. Then from a business perspective, we're looking to highlight what other problems they can have so that we can know more impacts. We can know more in more ways or in other ways that this is impacting the business. So first off, now I'm going to start the timer. So we have 10 minutes to do this. So time starts now. Okay, so we have 10 minutes for this. So Raphael, now we have a large selection of designer clothing. Now, if some of the items sell out. So if a business is selling out, so let's say this business has like 20 locations in different regions or in different parts of the UK. All right. If they are selling out in one location, what other problems or how can this impact the business? That's what we're doing. So I don't know if we should think out loud, but you can think out loud, but let's go. So I'm going to put in some stuff that comes to mind here. So guys, we're going to be brainstorming here. If you're following live, and you have any suggestion, I can't see any comments, but you can let us know if you're following live and you have something to share, right? Okay, so let's go. So after I think I don't know, seems you are giving this thing a good go. So right now I'm trying to think away from revenue.
So I'm muted. So I'm trying to think of like what are other things that like from speaking to a business. I'm not thinking from the user's perspective so as well, right? But how it affects the business, right? So I'm a business with branches. If I see that one branch is anyway more than another branch, obviously it's a revenue issue, but I'm also running costs. I'm paying rent and other stuff on that branch I go. And then that and if that like what is happening, people can see it's all in Peru, right? And there's another one in Lekki. I'm so sorry, it's a million people.
Yeah, brand perception, revenue. The funny how nothing is coming to my head now. Okay, let's see.
And just so we're clear, everybody, I need you guys to understand that normally these are issues that we will discuss with the business owners themselves. Seeing as how we do not have like real clients, we're actually trying to see what possible problems can be. So that's what happening. So please, rule of thumb, never assume anything. Everything should be coming directly from.
Okay. Everything just seems to be going back to revenue. right?
Look, revenue is the biggest thing. That's something more. Revenue is in the end, it's money now. Money, money, money. In the end, it's money, but it's a business in the end. So let's see.
Okay, let me just see.
Okay, maybe.
Back 4 more minutes. Go. I don't know. I'll just look for a couple of things. Oh, what's the customer side?
Yes.
I really good. So,
Well, I think I'm good. Honestly, let's move on
try.
to
Let me
this.
see if I can. We have 2 more minutes. Let me see if I can add one more. Not be able to hit their revenue target. It's quite similar related to revenue. Then if they have, okay, I think I have another one. So the business will spend more money. Yes, we'll spend still related to money. We spend more money. We spend more trying to move inventory. You get to other locations
That's actually a good one.
selling. So basically, they will try like, okay, since they're selling in this location, let's get a truck or let's move the items to that location. We get the
Uh-huh.
business will spend locations, better sales, right? So okay, guys. So I think we are out. We're almost out of time, but so far we have just four. Let me just put this here. This on top. On us, myself and Raphael. I know we could have come up with more, but sometimes in the heat of the moment where you need to think, I don't know why you may not be able to come up with stuff. But anyways, it's good. So the idea here is that we're not trying to come up with a lot of ideas. Of course, other ideas will come in later as we even progress. But right now, today's particular, from a business perspective, the reason why we're doing this is so that we can quantify the impact of what we are doing, right? So yes, we are going to be building an e-commerce, design an e-commerce, not okay. We are going to be designing a platform for the business, a web shop that's been powered by that has e-commerce embedded in it. But we want to be beyond the fact that they know they have a problem. We want to be able to quantify the impact that our work or the design we create will make. One thing we are saying that, so time is up. Just talking about this and we'll go over to the customer side. One thing we are seeing here is that, so I'll start with mine and I'll go to Raphael, right? So now, ideally, as a business, if you have multiple locations, there seems to be a revenue target that is given or allocated to different locations. Okay. Now, if the business is unable to sell across locations, which means that the other regions or locations will not be able to hit their revenue target. That's one. Then two, now the business will tend to typically try to now move inventory, products, accessories, and shoes from the location where sales is not so much to the locations where they have more sales, so that of course they can recoup the investment they've made. And in doing that, they're going to incur more costs when it comes to logistics. Right. So so if this problem is solved, it will save money for the business when it comes to moving inventory around. Then also it will now make each location be able to hit their revenue target. Right. Or probably okay. So I think that is going to Raphael's. Raphael, do you want to speak about yours? So let me just go over it.
No, you can. I
Okay.
mean, let's quickly go over it. There's nothing. So, I
Okay, so
mean,
going
basically,
over what Raphael said, overhead costs of branches that are not selling will impact revenue negatively. And that is true. What this means is that, let's say, as a business, I'm paying rent, I'm paying light bill, I'm paying water bill for 10 locations. But of those 10 locations, my revenue is majorly coming from just 2 locations. What that means is that I am spending more money, right, for other locations, and I'm not generating as much sales. So my return on investment is not as good, right? So it's going to impact revenue negatively because the money I seem to be making from 2 locations is being reinvested into 10 other or 8 other locations. So that's one way it's going to impact overhead costs. Then might have a negative impact on brand perception if customers do not purchase in a certain region. Yeah. So if customers believe that, okay, whenever they come to this shop, the product's not always available because it's, and you'll be verbally telling them, or maybe sales will tell them, we have it in our other location, come back tomorrow, come back next week, we'll have it here, right? So customers may not be patient enough, they may go to another brand or go to another business. Okay, so these are some of the ways we've highlighted that, beyond the fact that we just basically drilled into this problem to see other ways or other things that may not be obvious by just looking at the problem in itself. Okay. Now we're going to do it from the business, from the customer side, right? So the reason why we're doing it from the customer side is to see how is this thing impacting the customer. So Rafael, you bring your sticky over here and just wipe it. Yeah. So how is this thing impacting the customer? So as a customer, I am going to a shop, right, to buy stuff. I think we even need to even look beyond this problem, Rafael, right? Because I may not even always want to go to the shop physically, except maybe I want to try out what I'm buying, right? So there's a possibility of customers who want to maybe, I want to see how the dress will look good on me, how the shoe will look good on my feet before I pay. And also there are customers who like, I don't care, I trust your product, I trust your brand, just ship my size or the product over to me and I want it. So let's even look beyond the fact that one location is selling or outselling the other. What are the ways that this absence of a digital platform to buy products from is, together with this problem, impacting the customer? So we're going to set another 10 minutes timer and we are going to brainstorm for some more time. Okay, so guys, 10 minutes, go. Okay. What else? Fully, I want to speak proliferation of Rafa, you know that scenario where you want to use a particular word or a grammar, you're not sure if it means what you have in mind. But I'm going to use it. So I'm using the word proliferation to mean that there's a lot of. So it came to my mind, but I'll find out if it's correct. But for now, I'll leave it there. Yes.
I think I'm good for now. Yeah.
You get business idea. Okay, let me stop using pigeon. We have an international audience. So I'm now having more business ideas, right? So one more. So the business will not be able to expand. It will be difficult for the business to scale, beyond. Well, this is open for debate, Sha, because there are platforms that are restaurants that do not have a digital. Let me finish. It will be difficult to scale beyond their current. So Raphael, I did for the business, so you will do for the customer. So you run through everything, right? So for the customers. So we have in the next 15 seconds. Let me just finish this and I'll let you know. Difficult for the business to scale beyond their current region or country because of their absence. Web shop. Okay, so I had more business ideas than I did before. Then for the customer, so Raphael, run us through the. So we're basically exploring the problem space. So we've done for the business, now we're doing for customers. All right. So Raphael is going to give us a summary of the problems and connect related problems on customer side for this. Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, can you guys can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, cool. So, yeah, so I'm gonna start with cottages, right? So, frustrating for customers who see product in store. So, basically, I mean, it doesn't make sense for me to come back and buy something once and I come back again. I mean, it happens if on one-offs, right? So, if it's a constant thing, like a recurrent thing, it pisses customers off and you find somebody else. Customers who can't wait to let's find a way to get to the other location to get the access to the work. How imagine again? Oh no, no shades to Ikorodu. I'm just trying to illustrate the proliferation. God damn it, man.
Okay, let me check. Let me check the meaning of that word. I think I know what it means, but let me just confirm. I think it means like when they are.
Not talking about on behalf of delivery platforms and e-commerce, customers will have similar expectations from the business and what and expect to get items from the comfort of their home. True. Customers who
Yeah,
can't
yeah,
have find ways to get to the other location. Okay, I think this is okay. I don't know if I okay. Yeah, I think it's the same thing as this. Right. Okay. Yeah. So on my end, lack of availability of items will make customers lose interest and go to other brands. I think we actually have similar ideas. It's the same thing, right? It seems if I a lot of customers, a lot of customers have to go to location to purchase items, right? I mean, almost everybody has a like delivery an online web store business, right? But most people just want to shop on the comfort of their homes. The usage of mobile phones for shopping and other activities online is like skyrocketed in the past how many years for business, just not making for business. There is a missed opportunities of self and when I think this is actually funny. Like, yeah, I think this is a more of a business thing. But yeah, as a customer, I mean, I want to if I have a store, if I have a brand I'm really interested in, I would like to know what their other products are like. And like I don't want to have to go there every time to see what those products are. It's better if it's like sent to me, maybe like through marketing channels. So online store, instead of moving items from store, we have items moving directly to the customer. Again, I think this is a business idea, but yeah, it's the same thing. Yes, sorry. So why am I having why are we having to deliver move things across borders, so to speak? Because again, also shape people. Could actually, I just imagine if somebody from Korea is actually watching. Like the best. That's like the
Let me
best.
see. Availability, lose interest. Yeah. So I just checked. So I moved our guide. Okay. Anyway, so we are not streaming on LinkedIn. We're just streaming on YouTube right now. And reason being that I adjusted the time, so it seems like I don't know. The timing is 1 hour late or ahead on LinkedIn. But anyways, that's for today. I think I'm going to upload the live stream. So LinkedIn is going to be starting. I think we should start right now or by 1 p.m. Meanwhile, we've gone quite a distance. I don't know. We'll just promote it instead, but subsequently I will not adjust the timing. So when it says 11 a.m. on LinkedIn, it actually means 12 p.m. And I did the adjustment and I'm seeing that we are not live there. We're going live by 1 p.m., which means by now that's when it would have gone live. But it's fine. Well, I've been live on YouTube, so yeah. Okay. You done, Raphael?
Yeah, I'm done to everything.
All right, so our time has been up. So we have okay. So we have gone through the what's it called now? So we've gone through the business side and also the customer side. The next phase, so let me switch over to the request. So now the next phase of this is the so we've done the request breakdown, we've done the problem space exploration, and now it's time for problem definition. So my LinkedIn people, Rafa, give me 1 minute. Let me just quickly check. Right, so we are is now is when we are live on LinkedIn, and we've been live for a while. But sorry, let me click join. Is this saying something is wrong? Let me try again. If it doesn't work, then I'll just focus on this. Okay, let me go back.
Is that on LinkedIn or YouTube?
No, we're fine on YouTube. It's just LinkedIn. I don't know. Something seems to be wrong with LinkedIn, so I'll just ignore. I'll ignore it. Okay, so let's go back to yeah. So the next phase of this stream is where we now do what we call problem definition. So we are going to take the problem from the business side and take it from the user side or the customer side and now see how can we define the problem. Once we are done with that, then we'll now spell out what the next steps will be, right, for the next stream, which will happen next week Saturday. So stay sharing my screen. Give me a few minutes. I'm going to pull up an article from the Nelson Newman group. Let me see if I have a browser here I can use. I do not have a browser here. So let me stop sharing and I will share again. So I'm going to pull up an article from Nelson Newman group, right, that I typically use. So I'm going to just show us because I want us to do it together. I don't have any browser here, so I'm most likely will have to share a different screen. Let me see what screen I'm going to share now. Okay, I think this is fine. And okay, let me share another screen now. So let me know if you can see my screen. Just quickly share screen. So we're almost done. In the next 30 minutes or less, we should be done. So we've done the request breakdown, we've done the problem space exploration. Now we are moving over to the problem definition, after which we'll now tell you what the next steps are. and how we are going to move forward from there. Okay, let's do this. Coming to a new tab. Okay, so with a new tab open, I'm going to try sharing again. Screen. Yeah, new tab. So I'm sharing a new tab. So Rafael, let me know if you can see my screen.
Yeah, I can see.
How is it for you? Is it the center there? Let me check.
I
Okay,
mean, yeah,
yeah.
it's white screen, but it's centered.
Good, yes, looking good. All right, so I'm going to type Nessie Newman, and then let me just type NN group. All right, problem. So the reason why I like this is because it gives a very good framework, problem statements. So let me click on this. So yeah, so we're going to quickly go through this together. Then we are now going to use this framework that they put here to define the problem. So it says problem statements in UX discovery. So remember, we are still in discovery phase of this whiteboard session, right, or this project. So we are still in discovery, we're still in very early phases discovery. So we're doing UX discovery, and now we're defining the problem. So what they say here, so let me just go straight to what a problem statement is according to them, right? So it said a problem statement is a concise description of the problem that needs to be solved. It's helpful scoping device, focusing the team on the problem it needs to explore and subsequently solve, right? It makes it clear what needs to be done in discovery or what's out of scope. Okay. Now, it's great communication tool and whatnot. So, yeah, some examples. Well, before we go to the examples, let's look at the structure or the framework. What makes up a problem statement? Okay. So, they say that a problem statement should include the background of the problem, which organization or department has the problem, what is the problem, why has the problem arisen, right? And also, in some cases, you may not know the exact cause of the problem, right? That is what discoveries are for. So ideally, in our case, we would have even spoken further with the business, like, okay, what are the methods you've tried before, right? Some of the things we came up with are basically based on our little thoughts and possibly what we believe could happen. That's how we came up with those problems that we did for doing the exploration we did now. But we would have spoken to the business or the stakeholders or the founder, owners of the business, like to know what else they have explored before, what the impact really is, how they even started in the first place, right? To give us more insight into the origin of the problem. Now, so that is very important. Now, the people affected by the problem, who is affected by this problem? It needs to be captured. Okay. So people affected by the problem. So it can be internal employees, it can also be customers, right? So the president needs to capture that. Then also the impact of the problem on the organization. This is one of the reasons why we did the exploration. We need to know how is this impacting the business, right? So if the problem is not fixed, how is it going to affect, in fact, the business? Is it going to lead to unavoidable costs, reputational damage, market share? Like, how is it going to impact the business? Then, to gather relevant facts for a problem statement, one technique that they recommend we use is to use the 5 Ws. Which are: who is affected by the problem? What is the problem? Where does the problem occur? When does the problem occur? When, as in time? Why does the problem occur? And why is the problem important? Right? So you can merge these things together. So what problem statement is not? It's not a laundry list of unrelated problem. I'm very heavy on this. So I see a number of people create problem statements, and you are mentioning your solution in your problem statement. It should not. Called a problem for a reason, right? So we have a solution statement. Well, it's not really added now, quote unquote. I've not really seen something that says solution statement, but at some point you want to talk about the solution. So there's a different place for you to talk about solution, but ideally, for problems, what happen? So for problem, then we have a problem statement.
Give me a
So
second.
for problem, we have a problem statement, right? And you need to be brief. So let's go over this structure. The reason why I like recommending this frame or this Nelson Norman approach when it comes to problem statement is because they don't just give you a problem statement, they give you a breakdown of how you should structure your problem statement. And that's why I like using their framework. Now, let's use this in light of our what we have come up with. Okay. So I don't know. Let me try and see if I can put things side by side. So give me a few minutes, Raphael. Let me try and put this screen beside the, like side by side with the Figma. Okay, so I'm coming. Let me quickly do something. So I want us to look at this. And while we're looking at this, I want us to be looking at Figma. So we're looking at the problem statement. We're looking at our Figma. And we're going to come up with, like, we're going to ensure that our problem statement matches the framework that the senior man group is suggesting for us. Okay, so now so I'm going to stop sharing and share again. Then I will so I'm going to stop sharing now. So I'm going to share again, but now I'm sharing the entire screen, the second screen. So let me know if you can see my screen. You should see my screen. Yeah. Okay. So to my left, we have the framework, and to my right, I have the exploration we have done for the customer, for the business. Let's move this to this side. Then now we're going to bring a text. So let's just put this to this side, or put it, let's put it under here. Let's call it problem statement. So your problem statement is very important because the goal is to solve a problem for the business, right? So as you keep going, in as much as you are looking at, because one thing you need to keep in mind is the person you are designing for, the customer you are designing for, right? So two things that are source of truth for designers is the problem statement. You should not lose sight of the problem you are looking to solve. Then also the people you are solving the problem for. But now we're defining the problem statement. Now, what Nessie normally recommends is this: the background of the problem. So first question, do we know the background of the problem? Okay. I think we do. We know the business that is being impacted. We know where they are located in the UK, right? Then we know why the problem has arisen. So let's put together the resources, like the content that will give us this, that we are going to put together to eventually form a problem statement. So they say we have a large, so let me bring this problem here. And we'll pad it up with some of the other ones we've come up with. We have a large selection of the right. So why has the problem arisen? The problem has risen. Okay, so Raphael, let's respond to some of these questions, right? So let's try and Raphael, let's do this together. So the background of the problem, why has the problem? So let's try to respond to this first under this background of the problem, right? Let's respond to it. Which organization is impacted by the problem? So let me see Shop Tackle, right? So our Shop Tackle. So if you are following us, we're basically giving you a framework, a guide on how to create a problem statement, right? Following the framework put together by the Nursing Normal Group. So Shop Tackle. So who is the organization being impacted by the problem? Shop Tackle. Shop Tackle. Let me go to the brief to get that thing. So this is it. This is the people who are impacted by the problem. So let me go back. So this is the organization impacted. A large clothing store with several stores all over the UK. Let's put UK there. So these are the people who are impacted by the problem. So we know who is impacted. Why has the problem arisen? The problem has arisen because, for me, okay, let me see if I can put this in one line. The problem has arisen because they have different locations, store locations in the UK. So Rafi, I think you can be talking about the people affected by the problem so let me talk about the first one, then you can just be thinking about the second one. People affected by the problem. Try to respond to the question, like what questions what is the problem? Just try to respond to the second one so that we can save time. So they have different stores. So the problem arose because they have different store locations in the UK, but lack a digital web shop where people or where customers can shop or purchase products. This is why the problem has arisen. What next? Yes, I think this is why has the problem arisen. I think this is sufficient. So I know it's impacted by the problem and why the problem arose. So now, Raphael, over to you. So Raphael, take us through the people affected by the problem. Raphael.
More sharing, more using both screens at the same time. Yeah, so the people affected by the problem is the business itself and the customers, right? So the business, they're affected, the customers are affected because anytime that they go to to a store, there's probably the items that they need are probably not in that store. Yeah, so that's basically those are the people that those are the two parties that are mostly affected, right?
Okay. Sorry, I move this thing so you can go down and take it. Okay. So just okay. So next one is the impact of the problem on the organization. So we have stickers that speak to that.
I think we already
So
have here, right? Yes, you cannot bring it down.
so let's just summarize it. So none of the impact on the problem. One, it's impacting sales revenue. Sales revenue. The impact. Okay, so if they don't fix the problem, they will not be able to they will not be able to hit their sales revenue for different branches, revenue target, different branches or locations or store, let's say store locations. The impact of the problem, they will lose customers to other brands, to other businesses, or they will not be able to retain their customers. So if they will lose customers, it's basically the same thing. Two, what other impact again? Let's see. They will spend more. So Raphael, we are going to do this in two ways. Okay, we're going to define the problem from the customer perspective and define it from the business perspective. We're going to define it from the customer perspective and the business perspective. So we're going to have two problem statements. Eventually, we'll tie it together as one. We have about 15 more minutes to call it a wrap for today's live stream. Because they will spend more money moving inventory, logistics, more money. They will spend more on logistics. Okay, so Rafi, when you're done, I think those are the ones for me. Then they will not be able to build a loyal base of customers. They will not be able to build a loyal. Let's stop here. So now, we basically have responded to all the questions. So let me see what else we have here. So we have who is affected by the problem, right? What is the problem? So I think we have not captured what the problem is. The problem is that we already have it. Let me just copy it. Some items sell out in one store. This is the problem. So the problem is that some items sell out in one store, but it's still surplus in another store. So that is the problem. Okay, so we have what the problem. Where does the problem occur? The problem occurs physically in the store now. In the store, there's no need in the store. Why does the problem occur? We already have those reasons. Okay, why is the problem important? This is why the problem is important. So Raphael, now let's look at the examples that Nessie Norman Group gave us that we can use as a structure to build our. Let me just check if we're still streaming live and everything is good. Okay, everything looks good. So let's go back. Yeah. So an example of a problem statement. So Raphael, we're going to put our heads together and come up with the statements now. Okay. So let me think. We're not doing time again. So all right. So an example of a problem is users of our newspaper app often export content from our app rather than sharing content through our app. This is a problem because target audience are less likely to know that the app content came from our app, leading to lower conversion rates, right? This is also a problem for app users. So in this first example, they merge the problem of the user and the business together. Then sales rep. So they give you a background of how the problem originated and what is the problem. Then people is impacting, what the impact is. In this case, he's saying that it's leading to a lower conversion rate. That is the impact of the problem. Okay. Then also that's for the business side. And also from the user side, is leading to decrease in app usage from the customer side or user side. Let me look at the second one. Okay, so let me attempt. So let's attempt, right, individually.
That first one kind of covers the example we need. Users. So in our end is something like so we have multiple branches over the UK, right? And we do not, but yet we sell more in one, and we do not sell And that's basically the background, right? And then where does the problem occur? This occurs in this occurs in the branches where that do not sell. The problem is that a lot of our branches, some of our branches are not able to sell as much as the other. While some like sell way more. So this actually creates a logistic problem. I have to be telling customers we don't have XYZ. So this is the problem because our entire audience comes to our shop and says, "Hey, I want to buy X. I don't have it." And we have to tell them we don't have it, right? But if we had a web store that can service everybody, so others are less likely to know that, because we don't want to have to come to different move into our different locations, you know, just to get our products, right? Our shop post products. So this is also yeah.
Okay, what are you reading? We are trying to come up with a problem statement. What are you doing?
No, I'm not reading. No, I'm trying. I'm just like voice. I'm just thinking out loud. Though. I'm trying to. I'm trying
Because
to
I wanted
go.
us to come up with problem statement that I want us to wrap up very soon.
Uh,
So I was thinking I want us to come up with a problem statement, right? So let's try and come up with a problem statement. So let me give it a try. Let's say I'm coming on. We can look at it from a user perspective. Okay, let's start from a user perspective. Let's not do a business. Customers, shop tackle customers are unable to. Let me see. Shop tackle customers are unable to. Shop tackle customers want to drop the screen. Okay, let me drop from a business perspective. Shop tackle is unable to hit its revenue. Shop tackle is unable to hit its revenue from different locations because products ShopTaco is unable to hit its sales revenue from at different locations because customers are unable to buy items from locations where they are not physically present. So let me brighten that as I'm saying it. So let's say ShopTaco. So Raphael, you can be thinking of it from a user perspective. When I'm thinking from the business perspective, but I will make it eventually. So ShopTaco is unable to hit its sales revenue from its store locations because customers are, let me break this to the next line, are unable to, because customers are unable to buy locations physically present at. So ShopTaco is unable to hit its sales revenue because customers are unable to. I don't think this is, well, we are still experimenting. I don't think it's sufficient, but it's a good start. So ShopTaco is unable to hit its sales revenue because from store location because customers are unable to buy products from locations that they are not physically present at. You can refine this later. Use ChatGPT or something else, or just think about something better, right? So, let me see. So I think I've done. Okay, let me flip this. Let me flip this. Let me flip this. Let me flip this. Let's start with the customers. So customers are unable to buy products from locations that they are not physically present at because ShopTaco is unable to. No, because ShopTaco does not have. Okay, because ShopTaco does not have a web shop. Full stop. Then what is the impact of this? This impacts the. This makes it difficult for. This makes it
yeah.
difficult for others for different store locations for different store locations to achieve their sales revenue. So customers are unable to buy products from locations that they are not physically present at because ShopTaco does not have a web shop. This makes it difficult. I think this is let me see what else let me see. So this problem statement, let me see what it captures. It captures the background of the problem, captures who is affected, customers are affected, ShopTaco is affected, store location, shop that has been affected, and captures who is involved, gives us a background of the problem, because they do not have a workshop. What problem? Okay, this is what people are raising. Let me see. People affected is there. The impact is showing the impact. They cannot hit their revenue. Say, I think this is a good start. What do you think? Let me see the one you created. What do you think about this? Can you modify it after? What will you add?
I mean, I think it makes sense. I was gonna um, see how we could make shop-tackle come first before the customer. But this, I think this is fine, honestly. Because it already highlights the problem. Customers are going to buy, so it starts from the customer side. And then it highlights the impact on the problem. Or so it highlights the impact of the business. Let's go.
Okay, so once this problem definition is done, we're going to let you guys know what the next steps are in the live stream. That's because you've joined us. We hope to see you next week, Saturday. If you're watching the rebroadcast, if you're watching the recording, or probably you find it on LinkedIn anywhere. All right, so we're going to be having this again on Saturday, continue for where we stop. And also, we're going to have a playlist that captures everything step by step so you can follow through from the beginning, the client request, to the final web shop or web platform we design. So, Raphael, just do your thing, then let's move on to next steps. Raphael, it would be nice if you can speak out so our audience are not left in the. So just speak out loud as you, or think out loud as you are writing. You're muted.
Okay, yeah, sorry, I didn't realize I was muted. I'm trying to phrase it in a way that it kind of tells the story, right? So it gives the background of so while cottages is like kind of precise and concise, it actually works. I'm not trying to explore a so really we are done with this thing. I'm not trying to explore a version where it's more.
We are going to the next steps. Okay, guys. So let's So what have we achieved today? Right. So let's do a quick summary or a run through of what we achieved today. You can always come up with it to compare. So we started today with I'm going to show you, but we started today with a client request. We read it through. So let me see. Okay, I think I have it here. So yeah, there's no need. We started today with a client request. So you can see my screen, right? So started today with a client request. So let me go back. Started with the agenda for a live stream, which is request breakdown, problem space exploration, problem definition, right? So we started with a request breakdown. So this was the request. Like I said, ShopTaco is not the real brand, but we envisioned, came up with a fake brand and client brief to work with. So this is the assumed or the imaginary request, right? So we broke down this request to highlight what the problem is, then also what the objective, what the brand or the client in this case is looking for, and also the opportunity, right? That here they want it to be not just an e-commerce platform, but they want it to mimic their in-store experience. So this is the client's request breakdown. Then next we now moved on to the exploration phase, which is what you see here. So we took the problem that we highlighted and we explored the problem space when it comes to the business side. Okay, what other associated problems do we have in connection to this? So that's what you see us do here, myself and Raphael. And also we looked at it from a customer perspective, what other associated problems, or as a result of this problem from the business side, what is the effects or the related problems when it comes to the customer? How does this impact or cause a problem for the customer? So we put some things here, right? Then after we're done with this, we now moved on to creating a problem statement. And to do that, we made reference to Nessie Norman's article on problem statements when it comes to UX discovery, because it's a very good guide for me personally to create problem statements. So we use that. We have been able to come up with two samples of a problem statement. One is this first one you see here. Then the other one is this one that Raphael is putting together. So I'm going to read both of them. This one says customers are unable to buy products from in-store locations that they are not physically present at because ShopTaco does not have a web shop, right? So this makes it difficult for different store locations to achieve their sales revenue for the year. So we are going to, moving forward, which are the next step we're going to let you know now. This is going to be like our North Star, because this is the problem we're going to anchor our thinking on as we further explore the next steps. Okay, then Rafa is saying that ShopTaco is a luxury brand that has multiple stores across the UK. Some of the store locations are constantly sold out, while the other barely have sales. The affected stores are unable to meet their sales revenue. Yeah, so I think Raphael is trying to give you more context or more background into the problem here, but eventually we're going to consolidate both of them to have a single problem statement that we're going to use as our North Star or as our guide in addressing the clients or building or designing the web shop for Shop Taco in this case. Okay, so that brings us to the end of the stream for today. But next steps. Now, so what are the next steps? So now that we have the problem statement, we're going to explore if we can speak to a couple of people who are looking to buy, who have experience buying products, right? So we know that the region, we are currently based in Nigeria, all right, and of course we're designing these products for a brand who we imagine to be in the UK, but of course user expectation when it comes to delivery, when it comes to this what's it called, e-commerce, is quite similar. So we're going to look for a way to do some form of user research to know what the expectations are. Then also, especially people who buy luxury products, okay, so that we don't just design an e-commerce platform, right? We actually design one that reflects the brand identity that we've created already. So before we got here, we actually have had two live stream sessions where we had a brand identity designer who created a brand identity for this business called Shop Taco we imagined. Okay. Right. So yeah, we're going to move on to exploring the problem further, right? Then now think of ways, not just purely slapping e-commerce, slapping dispatch, slapping delivery onto a design, but thinking of how can we reflect or better match the in-store experience with the digital experience on design. So something we're going to let you know on our platforms communicates that, and also let you know the next steps in our next call. But for now, I think that's it. Thank you so much if you'll be following through, and thank you also if you watch a rebroadcast of this. So Raphael, do you have anything you want to say before we say a goodbye?
Yeah, thank you for this interesting session. It was nice, us like going back and forth and sharing ideas. Looking forward to the next. Hope I see you guys there. So like, share, follow, the whole idea.
All right. Okay, so yes, so that brings us to the end of our stream today. We have a new we'd like to see you guys on Wednesday on our Twitter space. We have a very interesting topic which we are going to share. So join us, hang out with us, talk about just to breathe and talk about a very interesting topic in design. Then Saturday next week we are having the next stage or the next phase of this live designs, right? Now that we know the problem, how do we move forward from here? We're going to let you know. Then also, we are going to be having a podcast for this month, right? It's around designing for new technologies, and we have our speaker already. So we're going to let you know, or our guest. So we're going to make announcements soon. So stay tuned. Subscribe to our YouTube, follow on Twitter, and please do well to share our content with your friends, colleagues, or anyone you know who will find this useful. For now, thank you so much for staying with us. Thank you so much for watching till this part. See you next week.